Eurovision for real with Alesia Michelle.
Hey, Eurovision fam, it's Alesia Michelle. I am excited to be here and to be back on the podcast with a podcast exclusive, because sometimes I have stuff that's from my YouTube channel brought over to here because I know sometimes, people aren't really on YouTube in the way that they used to be. So I'm trying to meet people where they're at everywhere. But this is a podcast exclusive conversation that I wanted to bring to you because even when I decided to have a podcast, I was like, you have to be thoughtful about what lane you kind of put everything in. And as someone who is a former on-air radio personality, I worked in radio for years, I enjoy the podcast space because it does allow a little bit of flexibility. And I do think it allows people to really sit with an idea. Whereas I feel like with YouTube, it's far more, it's more interactive in an instant way. Because as you're watching a YouTube video, like you're already in the comments, you don't necessarily watch the whole thing and then comment. People kind of comment as you're as they're watching the video. Whereas I think a podcast is like you sit with it a little bit more, like, is that a crazy way of thinking about that? So right now I am going to bring to you a conversation on semifinal one, because I think we've all agreed that semifinal one is in fact our semifinal of death this year. And actually, I think for the past couple of years, semifinal one has actually, and maybe if we look at it on recent history, the first semifinal has tended to be more competitive than the second one en masse. I don't know. This is not one of those things where I actually have kind of my notes out in front of me. I'm just talking to you. We're just going to get casual. So let's talk about it. All right. So in the first semifinal, we've got a couple of songs and artists confirmed. So we definitely know a little bit more of what's happening on the first half of the first semifinal than we do the second half of the first semifinal. So let's just do a quick run through of what we got. And I'm going to do this in alphabetical order. So in the first half, we have Croatia, Cyprus, Ireland, Lithuania, Poland, Serbia, and Ukraine. Okay. Of those first sets of songs, we've got Bambi Thug's song confirmed, Doomsday Blues. We have Lithuania, Sylvester Belt with Look Tell. And then Poland, we have confirmed Luna with The Tower. And then we have Ukraine with Aliona, Jerry Hiles, Das Mama Teresa Diva Maria, Teresa and Maria. Okay, and then in the second half of the first semifinal, in alphabetical order, we've got Australia, Azerbaijan, Finland, Iceland, Luxembourg, Moldova, Portugal, and Slovenia. And again, I think we kind of have a little bit more mystery around the second half performers, because at least in the first half, we have Cyprus, Celia with the song Liar, and we know it's going to be a poppy bop song. I think a la what Israel was sort of giving last year with Noah Carell. I think that's kind of what we have in store. And I'm hoping with some ethnic elements maybe injected into the song as well. But in the second half, we've got Finland giving us Windows 95, man, no rules. And Luxembourg's Tali Fighter, which I'm going to be real with y'all, I can't really remember the song off the top of my head right now. And then Moldova has Natalia with the song In the Middle. And then Slovenia, Raven, Dasta, Veronica. Oh. Yeah. So we, I think, have a little bit more of a window into the first half. And then I will just say with the second half, Australia has been not so much silent, but they haven't even really been giving us hints as to what they're going to be giving us. There's tons of rumors. There's some folks putting Troye Sivan out there. Of course, we had the inevitable Minogue rumors, but this year it seems to be leaning more heavily on Danny Minogue. But Danny has gone on record saying, nope, I'm not in the mix. And then Azerbaijan, there's rumors. There is a clip that I happened to see online. They're saying that Azerbaijan could be giving us Izel, but Izel doing like a bop kind of song. So if you recall, Izel was at Eurovision 2018 and did I Cross My Heart and did not qualify. So we should keep that in mind. The song did not qualify. But to be fair, we know Azerbaijan, at least, they don't phone it in when it comes to the staging. So if the song is even just generally speaking okay, and then also with Azerbaijan having the benefit of being in the second half, maybe they end up squeaking through. But again, this is a semifinal of death. In Portugal, we don't know what they're planning on sending. I did have a really interesting conversation and interview with Yolanda, whose song Grito, I really, really do love that song. And it does seem like she might be the front runner as it stands right now. But then Portugal also does have this song from an artist, Joa. And a lot of people are making comparisons to Joa possibly being sort of like Portugal's answer to the lead singer from Måneskin, or maybe like one of the, or maybe the drummer from Måneskin or something. I think they sort of look like they shop at the same store. Let's just put it that way. But I do kind of feel like, I said that this was going to be sort of like an irrational breakdown of semifinal one. And so I'm going to just start off and say, I don't think I'm loving the random draws anymore. I don't think I'm loving it because it's like you just end up having these stacked semifinals, and then you have one that maybe seems a little bit on the weaker side. I would also even argue, just from a showrunner perspective, that I wouldn't hate the idea if we decided to maybe just let all the songs be selected and then let a producer sort of think optimally for like a journey. And I know some people are like, oh, but then that's where things can become unfair and stuff. Well, I'm going to just tell you, with these random draws, this isn't feeling really fair either. At least it removes a little bit of bias, so I get it. Like, we don't necessarily want bias to show up. But here's the thing. When we have the random draws, we still have a producer end up doing the running order. It's not like we're doing a random draw for everything. So we're still getting a little bit of human error into it. I would rather, and when I say human error and potential bias in the mix. So it's not like with these semifinal draw allocations, it's like completely creating like this level playing field. As we've seen, it doesn't really. To me, I think if you just had your head of contest, your main producers and showrunners sort of sit down and be transparent about how they are sort of setting up the running order, that might be the way where you can kind of absolve yourself from bias. It's when the decisions are sort of made closed door that I think invite some of that in. But I would say, like, what if we just let all the songs get released and then we instantly see, and maybe it is on YouTube, and let's just be real. I know I would be watching that live stream or whatever. I would be watching the ongoing web series that's like, all right, so we've got Slovenia, we've got Ireland, we've got Poland in the first semifinal. And let's just be real. If you stood up all of those performers in a line, they could all be cousins. I don't want to say siblings, but they could at minimum be cousins. And so me as a producer, I would be like, okay, well, let's break down the songs. It's like, to me, Poland's song sonically is a little bit actually more in the world of Luxembourg. But to me, I think Poland, as it stands right now, could be in a semifinal with Ireland. Although they might be shopping at the same store, perhaps different sections of the store at the same store, I would probably, say Poland and Ireland can probably stand together, but Poland and Slovenia visually, because let's be real, Raven is really looking like Luna's big sister. Like, Raven, do you have a long lost sister who is from Poland? Like, because we think we found her. We think we found her. And that might not even be that crazy, because Raven is literally looking like Luna's big sister. And when I get to Malmo, when I get to the Eurovision Song Contest, because yes, I'm going to be there on the ground covering it this year. I was not on the ground last year, and I was really back and forth, y'all. I was really back and forth on whether I was going to go this year. And ultimately, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I didn't go last year. I'm going to do it. But mostly because I found an affordable Airbnb in Copenhagen. If I was unable to find an affordable Airbnb, I would not have been in attendance, okay? For my pocketbook, for my future, for my home, and for my child. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, when I am there, I'm going to have to try and figure out how I can get a photo of Raven and Luna. The photo shoots need to happen. We need to have the giggle conversation. We need to have the little collabo. Let's make it work delegations, because it must happen. All right. Okay. But you get what I'm saying about that? Because to me, if it was public and we're watching them break it down, it makes it go, okay, well, that's fair. So you're splitting them up. So I would put them apart. Now, sonically is a little bit harder, to make those differentiators, but you would want to sprinkle around the love. Like, I wouldn't want to have all my rock songs in one semifinal. Like, I would want to split them down the middle if I could, if I could split them down the middle, I would. But, and even same thing with my pop bops. Because honestly, semifinal 2 is giving pure pop bops. So let me break this down. We're going back to our first semifinal. I'm going to tell y'all off the top of my head. Okay, let's just off the top of my head. Because the thing is, we've got 10 slots. We have 10 slots. I'm going to tell you right now, I already feel like I'm going to lose 2 songs that I really, really love. I'm telling you right now, off the rip, I am. Looking at some of what's winning in some of the national selection and where the televoters are going, it does seem like Europe is in an upbeat mood. They want something boppy. They want something fun. So let's keep that in mind. They want something boppy. They want something fun. I think the other side of that too, and when I say boppy and fun, I'm thinking, think in the spirit of Cha-Cha-Cha last year. So I think with my second point, I think Europe is still in a space where they are open to something a little bit out of the box. They don't need something a little bit generic. So yes, poppy, yes, fun, but they could be looking for something too and hungry for something that maybe has a little bit of an edge. I'm not saying completely out of the box unique, because let's remember last year, Georgia, sort of unique, ended up not making it. The other thing I would say is, you don't want direct competition. You want to stand onto a plane, on a plane unto yourself. So if that's the case, even though Europe might be craving poppy bop and something maybe a little bit out of the box, we don't have a lot of ballads right now at Eurovision. We don't. So somebody does have an opportunity, and I would say there's maybe one entry from each semifinal. I don't know if we're going to get it en masse. I think there's one entry from each semifinal that if it is a ballad, something a little bit meditative, it is going to have an advantage. This is just, and I said this, it's an irrational breakdown. We don't have all the songs. Remember, we don't have all the songs. So all I am going off of is trends, past performance, and like stats and facts, and a little bit of probability. The other thing that we have to keep in mind is being in the second half is an advantage in an all televoting semifinal. Let me just say that we will get more songs from the second half than we will from the first half. Not because I want it that way, but because that is what the stats and facts have told us. So when I am looking at semifinal 1, I have to be realistic that we probably won't get more than 4. songs from the first half if we are looking at the statistics. Okay? If we're looking at the statistics, we will get no more than 4 songs from the first half, and the second half might be able to rock it with 6. Okay? So if that is the criteria I am using, again, this has nothing to do with my personal opinions or even my personal taste. Okay? That is the disclaimer for you. And I have to do this disclaimer because I had like some very weird comments over the weekend where I had basically said, I was like, oof, and really I was saying it because we don't even have the song. And I'm like, ugh, I don't know. And the direct competition is real. But some people are like, you seem to have something against Cyprus, which is absolutely laughable. It is like, that is honestly one of the most hilarious things I have ever heard, because Cyprus has literally been in my top 10 probably more consistently like over the past like 7-8 years. It's insane. The only times I think Cyprus has like not been in my personal top 10 was like last year and 2017 like 2017, and even in 2017 I was like, oh, but this song is like good, like I get it twice. So like, there are unwell, delusional people on the internet who just hop on to bully people who don't just blindly shower their country with love. It is a very strange thing. It is a very strange thing because arguably, like, I know if I had like a country that was like my country participating in Eurovision, I'll be real, I'd probably be more critical than anyone else. And I say this as a Philadelphia Eagles fan. And for those who know, you know. So if I'm looking at the first half and I'm looking at qualification potential, I'm going to kick it off with Croatia. I'm just going to tell y'all right now, I think that Croatia, Serbia, and Slovenia are probably just making it. And some people are like, oh, because of neighbor voting, you think that that's okay? And I'm just like, but if they're all coming with quality, like, then yeah, I don't care if all of the songs are of quality. Now, Croatia has not confirmed their entry. Serbia has not. So for the purposes of this debate, I'm going to hold off a little bit. I'm going to hold off until the end. Next up is Cyprus. Cyprus has direct competition sonically from what Poland's going to be serving. We know that. Yeah, we know that. And the reason why I say that is because, Cyprus has basically told us it's going to be something fun. It's going to be something poppy. And if you look at what Celia does, like on TikTok and everything, like this is a pop girly. Now, Luna's giving more alternative pop than what Cyprus or what Celia would give. Celia's going to give us more in the ilk of Noah Carell, of, I would even say, tick tock, watch the days go. Remember Croatia Eurovision 2021? So, and I would also note Croatia 2021 ended up not making it, but it was in the top 10 of the televote. So in an all televoting semi, it would have made it. So with that said, to me, Cyprus is on the fence as of now. But again, like I said, this is mostly because we haven't heard the song yet, so and we haven't heard anything, as opposed to Croatia and Serbia, where at least we know what they have in the pipeline. At least we have an idea of what they could possibly be giving. And some of what we have seen, particularly with Serbia, we know we've seen some of those performers perform live. So it's not just like we're going to get a studio cut. With Cyprus, they're going to give us a studio cut. It's going to take us a while before I think we have a good sense of what Cyprus could possibly yield live on the stage. And I also want to remind folks, Ela, 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 sing hallelujah. Okay, I love that song. I had that song in my top 10 for Eurovision 2022. It didn't qualify. It didn't qualify. So Cyprus, although they qualified last year, again, the direct competition is going to be fierce. So even if Cyprus were to make it out of the first semifinal, I have to say I'd be worried about it in the grand final just because of the direct competition, because we know Austria is going to be serving a bop and a singer who can dip in and do it and dance. 2, Georgia is also teasing that they're going to be doing something upbeat. So if that advances, I just think we're going to and then Celia is going to have to go up against La Noia. But I would also note for Poland, they're going to have to go up against La Noia. Okay, so we're back to the list. I haven't even written anything down. Let's do this. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and say we can put down Ukraine as a lock from the first half. Ukraine is qualifying. There's no question. It's number 1 in the betting odds. The song is great. With us, Mama Teresa, Diva Maria. Yeah, Ukraine is definitely going to be qualifying. We know that they know how to do Eurovision. It's a lock. Boom. Lithuania is also in the first half of the first semifinal. I'm putting Lithuania down. They're going to qualify. This is a song that has the potential to, at minimum, I believe, be top 10 at the Eurovision Song Contest. Ukraine, probably too. So, those are a lock from the first half. So remember, like I said, when we first started this conversation, when we look at stats and facts, we're more likely to get more of the qualifying songs from the second half than we are from the first half. So with that thought process, I am now telling myself that we only have 4 things we can bring over from the first half of the semifinal. Now, could it be an even split? Sure, we could get 5 and 5, maybe, but that is not what the data really tells us. So just to start this conversation off, I'm starting with only 4 from the first half of semifinal 1 qualifying. So Ukraine, Lithuania, that already takes up 2 slots, y'all. 2 slots gone just like that. Just like that, in an instant, they're gone. Now, there's a lot of buzz around Croatia's Baby Lasagna. It's a fun song. It's out of the box. It's one of those songs that will definitely be in direct competition with Finland's No Rules. But again, Croatia's coming in the first half. Now, I do believe the song that Baby Lasagna is doing is, what do you call it? I think it is in Croatian. I don't think that this is in English. And I actually think that doesn't work to its disadvantage, because you've got 2 other countries that are watching it that will speak the language. And of course, we know native language has been having a slight resurgence at the Eurovision Song Contest. So there might be some people who are like, I'm into this. But I'm going to pause on Croatia for now. And I'm going to turn my sights to Serbia, because I'm going to tell y'all, Serbia has several options in their national selection that will easily qualify. Now, I don't know if they're going to pick one of those options. And we know last year Serbia kind of squeaked into the final, but they got in to the final. So I'm going to go ahead and take my 3rd available slot, and I'm saying that Serbia is advancing. Here's the thing. Serbia has like 2 very, very strong female ballads. 2. Again, I haven't heard them performed live, but one of the singers we have seen perform live on the PESMA stage, and that's Zoria. The song that Zoria is bringing this year is like a Bond song with vocal moments and everything. I am telling you, if Serbia picks this song, it will qualify. The other song is from Teodora Ramonda. Ila Ramonda. With that song, it could have a motto moment. Remember I said at the beginning, if someone has like a straight up ballad, they might be working from an advantage just because they might not have a ton of direct competition. Now, again, I have a little bit of an asterisk by a ballad in the first semifinal because remember, I also said I think we'll get one. We'll at least get like one ballad that advances. And I'm kind of living in the world where what if Australia sends Dami Eam? Dami Eam can do a ballad. So Dami Eam could take the one ballad slot that I'm like, I know we will get. But I also want to note that I do think I don't know. I think it is possible we could get two ballads. No more. It's only two ballads or one that will advance. It's either two or one that will advance. You know, I'm not going to lie. I was looking at maybe one of these other countries like Finland to possibly send us a ballad because I was like, then I'll feel like it's a lock. But I don't know. So I want to move away from the first half a little bit. And so you might be going, Alesia, you left Cyprus on the table and you left Ireland on the table and you left Poland on the table. And I just want to say, I'm going to come back. So from the first half, what I've left on the table is Cyprus, because we got to talk about what's happening on the other side to then get with what's likely to happen on the backside. So Cyprus, Poland, and we got Ireland. I'm going to come back. Okay, let's move our sights to the second half of the first semifinal. Now, I had started off, and so let's just say, so Australia, they don't have a perfect qualification score now. Montaigne lost out in 2021. Australia did qualify last year. I think Australia being so quiet is smart on their part. They should be quiet. They should be quiet because if you're not really going to be giving us something, and if it's going to be something that isn't going to hit with a bang, there's no point in building everyone up, you know, to lofty goals and things. Like, there's no point in doing that. Azerbaijan, quiet. Like I said, not that quiet. There was a leak of Izel. I'll be real with y'all. You know, Azerbaijan lost out last year. They might this year. It's hard to say because of kind of the silence. And then I don't like to lean into things that feel like leaks because ultimately I don't think that that's fair to the artist. It's not fair to like the PR of it all. And so I don't like that. But let's just say that it is Izel. And let's just say that it is this song that was a snippet. I think I'm going to say maybe we lose out on Azerbaijan. Because I'm kind of living in a world, even though Azerbaijan knows how to stage, and they definitely staged last year, that song has to be impactful. And the snippet that I heard, Moldova's song is better. And what Natalia's giving is strong. And when I say better, stronger. The more competitive piece. So with that said, I'm going to live in a world. I'm going to live in a world where we end up getting Moldova. I'm going to put Moldova down. Let's just say we get that. Let's just put Finland down. Finland is giving the fun. It's giving the party. It's giving the out of the box, the thing that we see a lot of these national selections and like national selection televoters coalescing around. So Finland, we're putting you in there. Australia has a good track record. So my instinct is saying Australia makes it. But I don't want to put it down yet. So Azerbaijan, I'm going to say Azerbaijan's out right now because I think if it's the Izel clip we heard, I think Moldova's besting it, and I think Serbia has things in the pipeline that could best it. So let's say that. Then I will say Iceland. I have no clue what Iceland is going to send. From the first semifinal, I'm not going to lie, the two songs that I actually really, really liked did not advance. They didn't advance. Now, they did give us a pop bop girly. And then they had this one kind of fun song. It's standing up like, oh, my life is a movie scene. Yeah. Ooh, I do what I want to. Now, Anita is giving pop, bop, girl realness. But we know of the Nordics, Iceland does tend to struggle. And there's something a little bit, yeah, Iceland tends to struggle. So looking at the two options they have now with Anita and My Life is a Movie Scene, ooh, if they end up going the fun route, the movie scene song, Finland and Croatia's Baby Lasagna are winning that battle easily, like easily, because the vocal wasn't really there. Now the other one of the other front runners from Iceland's national selection is this one song, uh Wild Wild West. Yes. Yeah, Wild Wild West. I will tell you, I feel like there are some people who don't like, I have heard the critiques out there of people who don't like the song. I actually think it has a very strong, solid hook. I don't think it's a Eurovision winner, but I do think the melody is good. Yeah. It's on road again. Da, 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 da. It's catchy. And then I'm telling you, the best part of the song is the and let me just be real with y'all too. Iceland, the production value in this first semifinal that they have for Song Bekempen, wonderful, wonderful. So that makes me feel like, you know, we might be in for something. So it's hard for me to tell if Iceland ends up selecting. I think the name is Bashar. If they end up selecting Bashar with Wild Wild West, sonically that song's gonna stand out. Like, I think then they're in if they end up selecting that song, and it does. Word on the street is people are saying Bashar is probably gonna win. That's what I'm hearing on the street. But I do think Anita has a lot of power. You know, I don't speak the language, but the song is fun, and there's something about it that feels like modern Schlager. Yeah, it feels like a very modern Schlager song. But the challenge is, if Anita goes and Bashar, we're going to get those songs in English. Like, we are. And Anita's song in English, to me, doesn't stick as much. And Anita would be direct competition to Cyprus. And I'll be honest, I could see people studio cut wise preferring Cyprus's track. And I mean, because we know, like, and if it's Panic Records, like, Panic Records knows how to do, like, a really good pop track. And so if it was down to Anita and Cilia, I think I'd actually throw my money behind Cilia. But again, Cilia's working with the disadvantage being in the first half. And Anita's stage show was really good. It was really, really good. But again, if Iceland sends Bashar, because I think that's really what the tea leaves are pointing towards. And remember, also, there was a conversation of Iceland not even participating at Eurovision. So we got to keep that in mind, too. So maybe we take Iceland out of the mix. And honestly, looking at the semifinal, as much as I love Iceland, I wouldn't hate them being out of the mix, because that's one less song I have to worry about, you know, possibly qualifying and making the competition even tougher. So let's just say right now we get Iceland. Let's say right now we get Iceland. And I'm saying we get Iceland if it's Bashar. Because again, sonically, I do think Bashar's song isn't really sounding like anything else that could potentially be dropped in the semifinal. So then Bashar gets to be in like sort of his own category. It actually, the song is a little bit spaghetti western. Think Estonia with Hope. Stefan. Yeah, Stefan. And that one qualified, remember? So just so it's clearly a sound that some people can gravitate towards. Portugal, I think, is coming in with a disadvantage. If they give us Yolanda, you know, or Joa, then I'm like, ooh, this is going to be tricky. But the problem I think Portugal will have is Yolanda's song. Oh, I love it though. Wait, no. That was Yoli's song. Lord. Yoli's song. No, but Yolanda's song is here. I'm gonna pull it up, because that song does have yeah. Yeah, Yolanda song. Yeah, that song, and I will tell you, if Portugal sends that song, then I would kind of want Serbia not to send Teodora. Then I will want Serbia to maybe go the Zorya route, and then maybe we get Serbia and Portugal, but then maybe Moldova sits out. Because I will say, I as much as I think Moldova could deliver, because we know how they can stage and everything like that, the studio cut of Moldova's song isn't as immediate for me as Yolanda's, and obviously and as Teodora's song or Zorya's song from Serbia's national selection. So just throwing that out there. So, Lord, I've only got 3 slots left. I'm telling you, we're going to lose. Like, y'all don't get this. We're going to lose a song that we like. And I think it's going to be 2 songs that we like. Okay? If we're going off momentum, we're going off upbeat and poppy and fun. I think Luxembourg, as much as it's probably a borderline qualifier, to me, it almost feels like a borderline qualifier that ends up making it. Like, just making it, right? And I mean, reminder of the title of this, a completely irrational analysis of semifinal 1. And I hope you're kind of following along with this on your own, sort of realizing just how stacked this semifinal is. Because again, I think some people are severely downplaying how stacked this semifinal could potentially be. Like, we don't even have the songs, but it could be. So let's just say Luxembourg makes it. And really, I'm going off of they're back. There's going to be a whole bunch of promo around the fact that Luxembourg is back. But also, people in the national selections are seeming to be gravitating to these fun, poppy songs. They are. So let's just say, so Luxembourg, they have that. I haven't included Australia. So let me just put Australia in here. Let's just go on and say, let's just go on and put Slovenia and Australia. Here's my asterisk. The only reason why I'm nervous for Slovenia is because of how Georgia went last year. Georgia wasn't even in the semifinal of death last year, and we all thought Georgia was a lock until we saw the live performance. Okay, remember where I'm following. There was a lot of criticism of Georgia's song because the lyrics did seem like gibberish. It seemed like someone had, done a translation that wasn't even Google translation and just put words together in English. And so that was working to its disadvantage, but it had the advantage of potentially a good visual. The reason why I feel more confident for Slovenia is we've seen Raven perform live. We know she can sing live. We also know that she can stage, even with limited budget, something that is visually arresting. And so that is why I'm feeling like Slovenia still makes it. Okay? So in the second half, I'm going to let Australia get through. Okay? I'm looking at the official Eurovision. So I'm letting Moldova get through as of now. I'm saying Azerbaijan is out as of now. We don't even have the song, so clearly this, you know what I mean? Like, so clearly, this is all just guessing. But let's say Azerbaijan sits out. We get Australia. We get Moldova. Moving up, I'm going to say off of momentum, we get Luxembourg. Okay? Given this layout, I'm ending up saying Portugal is then out. but also they haven't selected their song yet, so there's still a big question mark. To me, the big question marks in the second half are really Australia. Like, the question marks are Australia, the question marks are Portugal, and the question mark is Iceland. Because depending upon how those countries choose will ultimately seal their fate. Australia, I have in as of now, but depending upon what they choose, I could easily see Portugal sliding right in there. Iceland, depending upon what they choose, if they choose Anita, I could potentially see them out and Cyprus in, just based off studio cuts. So Cyprus, I'm not even saying that you're out. I'm just saying if Iceland chooses Anita, I'm saying I feel more confident about Cyprus being able to get in. If Iceland chooses Bashar, I'm saying they qualify. We don't have anything sonically like it. The only thing that could possibly rival Iceland's Wild West, if Iceland picks Bashar's track, is Marko from Serbia. If y'all have heard the song, it's called No. That song, Zino te pilo, Babelos is fed, Okay, that's the only thing that I think could really knock out Iceland for sure. But I think if Serbia decides to go the female ballad route, which they might, and let me just also say, given what Lithuania picked, that's going to be tight for Filip Baloš, my boy Filip in Serbia. We got to keep an eye on that because that, Juga and Nosh is direct competition for what Lithuania has with Look Tell. Okay, so keep in mind my question marks. So Cyprus, y'all should be hoping that Iceland selects Anita. Because if they select Anita, y'all could be in there. Because Celia's going to dip it and do it. And Anita's doing some dance moves, but I do think Celia is the stronger, dancer. So what Celia does could end up making Anita's look simple. But again, Anita's got the advantage coming in the second half. Okay. And Iceland and Finland are not alone. I should highlight that too. So from the second half, so again, Australia is in there, but depending upon what they pick, Portugal could take their slot. So I'll say that. Slovenia, I'm feeling confident that they end up in there. I just think the execution is going to be good. So Slovenia's in there if the execution is right. Luxembourg, I do have on the fence. I'm going to be real with you. I've got Luxembourg on the fence. Again, if Anita is in the second half, actually that could work to Luxembourg's advantage because I do think Tali maybe has a little bit more momentum. But Anita, I think, had the stronger stage show than Tali. So Luxembourg, I'm saying in based off momentum, but I want to be clear that I think Luxembourg is borderline. And some people are talking about Luxembourg being borderline and some people are not. I am saying Luxembourg is borderline. So they could easily just missed out. AKA, tick-tock, watch the days go, I'm losing track of time lost. So Luxembourg could be out, but I'm going to leave them in. I'm saying Iceland is in. If they pick Bashar, I feel pretty confident that they're in. Finland, no rules, is in, y'all. Whether you like it or not, people are going to pick up the phone and go, this is Eurovision. Boom. Moldova, I am saying is in, but I think Moldova might be a little bit more shaky than what folks think, depending upon what Serbia could be bringing, depending upon how good Raven is on the stage. So there's that. Now, that means from the first half, I'm saying Ukraine and Lithuania are a lock. If you're thinking that they're not a lock, you're delusional. No. I mean, they would have to really, really, the phone lines would have to break, I think. They would have to break, I think, for them to not make it through. I'm saying Serbia is in. They were able to squeak through last year, And I think that Serbia has Serbia has several options. They've got Zena with, Zena naboya, Zena, Zena, ya naboya, Zena, Zena, ya naboya, which I will tell you, if Serbia sent that, that would stomp out, I think, what Moldova could be doing. To me, that's direct competition, and Serbia could maybe outshine whatever Moldova puts together, even though Moldova, yes, does have the vocal moment. Remember, Moldova also has to compete with Slovenia, because Slovenia has the vocal moments too. Serbia, I don't know. There's just something that's telling me, and then I haven't even talked about Serbia also has Constructed in the mix. Yeah. Evasace. I mean, seriously, and Constructa can create a really visually arresting thing that could stomp out. So, but here's the problem. Poland was able to qualify last year, and apparently all of Poland was upset that Blanca with a K was even at Eurovision. So Poland, to me, has qualified with less. And I think we end up having to live in a world where Poland could potentially be a lock. But where I think Poland could struggle is, like, if the diaspora is not behind this, I don't think that what Poland is serving this year is arresting enough to get casual Eurovision fans. So, and now you're sitting here and you're looking at me and you're going, Alesia, what about Ireland? What about Ireland? To me, like, I just want to be clear. I told y'all we're going to lose 2 songs we like. And I hope it is not Ireland. Because for me, if I was doing this, let's see, if I was just doing this, it would be, I would have Ukraine qualify. If I was just doing it, I'd go on and have Cyprus in there. If this was just me, I'd have Serbia. I'd have Lithuania. I would have, because Baby Lasagna, honestly, it doesn't do anything for me. So I would have Lithuania. I would have Ireland. But if I had to sit out one of the Balkans, I'd sit out Croatia, because if it is the Baby Lasagna song, it just does nothing for me. So I'm just going through. If this was just me picking, I would have Ukraine, Cyprus, Serbia, Lithuania, Ireland. Then I would have Slovenia. I'm gonna be real with y'all. Iceland got rid of the 2 songs that were my favorite on the playlist. I still have 2 of my other songs in the mix in the second semifinal, but I don't know what'll happen. But my number 1 song was Rojo. So for me, if I'm just doing my list, Iceland's out, because Anita's song I don't need in my final personally. And then, and Finland would be out. I wouldn't be checking for them. I would have Portugal, and I would likely, so 6, 7, 8. So for me, I would definitely have Portugal, because I think all the front runners in Portugal's national selection I like, and I will want to see advance. The likelihood that Australia is going to send something that I like is very high. I pretty much like everything they've sent, studio cut wise. The only song from Australia that honestly I didn't like was We Got Love. And I don't think I need to explain it. It was generic. It sounded like an X Factor winning song, not my thing. And it wasn't even delivered well on the stage. So Australia would be out. Azerbaijan, I don't know. I would put Moldova in there. So if I was just doing this, if this was just decided by me, the first semifinal would be Ukraine, Cyprus. Yeah, I know we don't have the song from Cyprus, but I typically like it when Cyprus sends us, a girl dipping it and doing it on the stage with a well-produced pop track. I like that from Cyprus, because they always give us a little bit of ethnic in it. So yeah, I would have that. I would easily have Serbia, easily have Lithuania. I would have Ireland. Easily. I would have Slovenia. I would have Portugal. So then Australia, Moldova, and then I got a slot open. So honestly, my open slot, I don't hate baby lasagna, so that's why, but it just isn't really my thing. So to me, my second spot, and like I said, I mean, we don't have all the songs. So we don't have all the songs and we don't have them confirmed. But I would say for like my last slot, depending upon what they pick, I would say Croatia v. Luxembourg. Because as much as Luxembourg's song isn't really for me, I actually don't think it is a bad song. I just find it a little bit mid for me. But it would be Croatia, Luxembourg, or Iceland. Because honestly, if Iceland sent Bashar, I like that song better than Luxembourg's song, and I like it better than Baby Lasagna. Yeah. So if this was just me, again, Ukraine, Cyprus, Serbia, Lithuania, Ireland, Slovenia, Portugal, Australia, Moldova, and then in my 10th slot, it would likely be Iceland if they pick Bashar. If they send Anita, then I'd take off Iceland and go with Croatia and Luxembourg. But I do just want to be clear. When I watched Anita's performance, I was like, this is good. But on the song Bekempnen playlist, I skip it. I skip the song. I listened to it a couple of times because I just was like, and it's fine. Like sometimes I will let it ride. So that's how I know it. You know. You know, sometimes I will let it ride, but there you go. So let me get back to like what's probably realistic. And again, semifinal of death. And I will say Ireland has gone down in the odds, but the fact that Ireland was even in the top 10 of the odds, I think has to count for something. And unfortunately, you know what I think might end up happening? So let's go back. We're going back to the Irrational Breakdown, a semifinal one. Remember, at the end of this, there's going to be a song that we love left out. Now, my gut tells me we get Serbia, Croatia, and Slovenia. But I have heard Slovenians actually say, no, Serbia and Croatia are the lock. We could be on, the edge. And last year, with Joker out, I think they are amazing. And they didn't do as well as I ultimately thought that they were going to do. Like, I was thinking there was a possibility that they could have even won a semifinal. So then that tells me, okay, maybe Slovenia isn't getting a lot of the support that I thought. Because remember, like I said, Slovenians have told me. So if we're thinking realistic and we go through semifinal one, if we're thinking realistic and we go through semifinal one and track record, then what? Ukraine is in. Okay? I'm gonna put so Ukraine is in. I'm going to do the ones that I'm like are a lock. Lithuania. They've got diaspora support and the song is really good and the staging is really good. I think I think Lithuania could be top 10 this year. So I think Lithuania we got to have in there. I'm going to say we probably realistically, given track record, given stats and facts, we probably have to say Poland's a lock. Poland's probably a lock. Then I think we're looking at, let me just throw it in there. Let's say we get, I don't know, but that doesn't seem realistic. Ukraine, Poland, Serbia, Lithuania. Okay, let's do that. Ukraine, Poland, but then do we get Croatia? Let's do a scenario where we get Serbia and Croatia. Okay. Yeah, let's just say we get those as a lock. Okay. So we get Serbia, Croatia. I'm leaving on the shelf Cyprus because I think I'm going to have to slot them in later. And let's just live in a world where Ireland's out. Okay? Because let's be real. There have been times, I mean, Ireland has been left on the table so many times. I just think people are going to pick up the phone and call for Bambi personally. Like, it's the Tim Burton of it. I don't know. Okay, let me put Ireland on ice. Let's put Ireland on ice. And Cyprus we put in the swing position because it could happen. So, again, we've got our first half, Ukraine, Lithuania, Poland. Let's just say Serbia and Croatia. Let's say we get like a 5-5. Probably unlikely, but let's say we get it. Okay. And I'll do an asterisk because I guess Croatia still hasn't picked. And Croatia isn't exactly super consistent when it comes to the staging. So let's say even if they did have Baby Lasagna, what if the staging is just awful? Like, then Baby Lasagna misses out. And I would say if that's the case, we're going to come back to this later. I'm going to skip Slovenia and Iceland. Again, I'm looking at the official graphics from the EBU that are not in, they're not in alphabetical order. But Finland is probably a lock. No rules is probably a lock. So let's just live in that world where it's in. Australia off of track record, even though they've missed out once. I don't think they'll fumble the bag this year. And let's just say Moldova is definitely in. They typically bring songs to life. The song has vocal moments. We've got 2 slots left. Let's say, for the 2 slots left, let's say Slovenia misses out. Okay, let's say Slovenia maybe misses out. It has a Georgia last year moment. Maybe they don't do the staging amped up in the way that they should. Let's say that happens. Something goes wrong with the staging. Not the vocal, because we know Raven is great. And, there are some people who say, like, the chorus isn't that sticky. Even though, Veronica, oh. So let's say Slovenia misses out. Say we get Serbia and Croatia, Slovenia misses out. Let's say Iceland does send Bashar. I'm on the road again. Yeah, so let's say Iceland's in there. I don't know. Portugal's had such great momentum. I'd hate for this year to be the year that they miss out. Let's say Azerbaijan is definitely out. They're still in their rebuilding era. So let's say Azerbaijan's still, trying to get their footing. So let's say Azerbaijan's out. Then we've got 1 slot left. So Finland is in. Australia is in. So then we got 1 slot left. And let's just say, you know what? Actually, I know what it is. So our 1 slot left is Cyprus going head to head with Luxembourg. And it'll be the best pop girly comes out on top. That's what it'll be. So this irrational breakdown of me, and this is me taking myself completely out of it. What? We get Ukraine, Lithuania, Poland, Serbia, and let's say we get Croatia. Now, Croatia could easily slot in with Slovenia. It'll come down to the staging. I have more confidence in Slovenia staging it well than Croatia, given track record, but it all depends upon what Croatia's song is ultimately going to be. But there are some songs that Croatia has that we know they could maybe fumble the bag on when it comes to the staging. Yes, Croatia was able to make it last year, but they had Let 3, who was visually and sonically arresting. No one was going to forget that performance at all, and it was a little bit poking fun at the world that we are in right now. So, perfect. So if Croatia were to send Let 3 again, they're in. Let's just say they're a lock. Okay. Then we're moving down to the second half. This is if we get 5-5, which is unlikely. But if let's say Croatia's out, then we're going to get the 4-5 breakdown, which I think is the more likely statistical thing. So then that's us looking at Slovenia, possibly. So if it's Croatia, So it's either going to be Croatia or Slovenia. Let's just say that it's that. I don't know. I don't think that that's the real direct comparison, because arguably we could have it be Moldova or Slovenia, and we could have Moldova battling it out with Slovenia. So then on the other side, it's Finland, Australia, aka, and then we have our head-to-head, Moldova versus Slovenia, and then we get Iceland making it if they send Bashar. If Iceland sends Anita, then you can take Iceland completely out of the mix, put Slovenia back in there comfortably, and then you've got Cyprus, Luxembourg, and Iceland battling it out. Did y'all take notes? Did y'all write that down? So, taking my personal opinion out of it, I'm saying, and again, this is irrational because we don't have all the songs. I'm saying we get Ukraine, Lithuania, Poland, Serbia. We have a situation where it's Croatia v Slovenia potentially, where it's the two of them battling it out. Then moving down, then it's Finland making it. We've got Australia potentially making it just because of their track record, but we know Australia can fumble a bag too. So if Australia fumbles the bag, then I would be hoping that we get Ireland as a lock. Then we have Moldova or Slovenia battling it out. And then we have the scenario where we get Moldova and Slovenia, and then we have Cyprus, Luxembourg, and Iceland battling it out. Or one could argue, nope, Luxembourg and Iceland are in there with the pop bop girlies. Or you could say Luxembourg is in there. People want to have fun. This is like a fun poppy bop track. And so then on the bottom two categories, then maybe we get Cyprus and Luxembourg, and they're a lock. See this breakdown? This is hard. And if we end up with this, then I'll tell you right now, I will be mourning Ireland as per usual. Perhaps it's just going to be my pilgrimage where just every year at the first semifinal of the Eurovision Song Contest, I'm sat here crying about Ireland, not making it. But again, let's just end with this. If it were up to me, and this is even with us not having all the songs, if it were just up to me, Ukraine, Cyprus, Serbia, Lithuania, Ireland, Slovenia, Portugal, Australia, Moldova. And then in my last category, I'd let Croatia, Luxembourg, and Iceland battle it out. For me, in my 10th position, if Croatia sends baby lasagna, I'm kind of like, whatever. Like, you can pick your poison. The fun I like at Eurovision is pull up Estonia. That is the fun that I want to be having at Eurovision. Luxembourg, I think their song is fine, but it's unoffensive and it's mid to me. It's not bad, but it's not really my zhuzh. But for my 10th slot, if Iceland sends Bashar, then completely. Like that I would prefer. Or Maya. There is this one, or Maya. I really like her song. Oh my goodness. Well, that was the end of this podcast. An irrational breakdown of semifinal 1 for the Eurovision Song Contest. If you haven't already subscribed to this podcast, please do. If you love Eurovision, you're going to want to keep up with all of this stuff. And if you're already subscribed to me on YouTube, just come on and subscribe to me on the podcast. I do special things over here for the podcast. Thank you so much for listening.